my name's Mel and this is my channel Knit Stitch Grow. Today I'm going to do a roundup of the things that I have sewn over winter time, over the last few months. So what I'll do is I'll go over things that I've made, things that I've started, and I've got a couple of plans as well. So I hope you'll stick around and find out what I've been up to. So the first thing that I want to talk about is what I'm wearing, and this is the Ressac sweater by Maison Fauve, and I love it. I'll just stand up so that you can see. It's got these kind of welt pockets that go into a kangaroo pocket. It has these beautiful darts at the front, raglan sleeve, straightforward sleeve, and I was made up because if you've watched a few of my other episodes, you'll have heard me say before that I usually need to add like at least an inch and a half to the sleeves, and for this pattern I didn't have to add anything. They just fit perfectly, so I was very pleased about that. But I really like this sweater. It's made out of a sweatshirting material from Fabric Godmother. It's got a kind of fleecy inside. And yeah, I think it was in the sale. It was when Fabric Godmother had their sale. I think it was the kind of summer sale rather than, yeah, I think it was a summer sale. And the ribbing was a ribbing that I already had, which I'd bought for another project and didn't use, and it just turned out to be the right shade of red. So that's the ribbing. With this pattern, it may be a bit hard to see, but there's a panel that runs right up the side and also into the sleeve, and that's all ribbing. That's on both sides of the jumper. So actually you don't need an awful lot of sweatshirting material, because maybe like a third of the actual pattern is made from ribbing. You don't have to use the ribbing, but I guess if you had enough stretch in the material you were using, you could just use the same material throughout. But I quite like that it gives you like a little bit of more stretch down the sides. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it. That was my first make. I was swithering about the sizes, but I ended up making a 36. And I think that just fits absolutely fine. What I would do the next time is, it's not cropped, but it finishes kind of high hip. So next time, I think I'm going to add half an inch or an inch to the length, just so that it brings it down a touch. But otherwise I am super pleased with it. So that's my Ressac jumper, and yeah, by Maison Fauve, and I've been watching some of their little reels and stuff that they do on YouTube. And I think it was last year was the 10th anniversary, or there was some kind of big anniversary for Maison Fauve, and the lady who runs it mentioned that she used to be a dentist, and I just thought to myself, gosh, she must have been the chicest dentist in the whole of Paris. Because, you know, when you look at somebody and you're like, I can't imagine you being a dentist. Anyway, that's apparently what she was. So I'm glad that she now makes beautiful clothing patterns, because they are really gorgeous. And I think I'd been put off before doing their patterns because a lot of them are intermediate, and I can't remember how this one is pitched, but I found it absolutely fine. So yeah, I was very pleased with that make. So the next make I want to talk about is a top by, it was a new pattern last year by Pattern Emporium. It was the popover shirt. And here's mine. Can't quite fit the whole thing in the frame, but what I'll do is I'll add in some pictures of me wearing it. But here we go. It's made in a viscose fabric that I got from the knitting and stitching show back in, I think it was 2024, and I got it from the So Different stall, and I really loved the fabric when I saw it, but I'm not entirely convinced that these are my colours. I had got it and I was attracted to it because of the circles, and they look kind of like moons and half moons, so I was drawn to the fabric because of that, and it's beautifully drapey and swishy, but I'm not, yeah, as I say, I'm not 100% convinced that these are my colours, or that this is that I want to wear this top in this fabric. So I like it, and I would definitely, I love the swish of it, and I really like, with this one, they give you, actually the pattern gives you two options, so you can either do a facing and then top stitch it around the outside of the V if you have a fabric that isn't the same on the inside, or if you have a fabric that's like yarn dyed and it's the same on both sides, you don't always have to do the facing. They give you a different option. She gives you different options. Just do a kind of centre seam, but for this one I did the top stitching, and because Pattern Emporium patterns are just so well written and drafted, everything went really well. I just I had to just take my time doing putting this V placket together and top stitching the top of it. When I put it on, I think this V is possibly a little, just a smidge too low for me, so I might raise it up by about an inch, because I do want to make another one, but I want to try it in a different fabric. It was one of those patterns where as soon as I saw it, and as soon as because Pattern Emporiums usually put a video on YouTube showing all of the different variations, because there's normally hundreds of them. So I had a look at the different variations and saw it on, and I thought that would be a really good top to make for work, and also kind of during the summer, as like kind of, you know, just something you can kind of pull on and go. So yeah, I like the pattern, but I think it's the wrong fabric for me. It was one of those fabrics where I saw it and I really liked it, and I didn't think about necessarily the colouring or whether it would suit me, and it sat on my shelf you know, for a couple of years, and so I just thought, you know what, I just need to kind of try it and see what it's like. And I don't think it's worked out, but I will definitely make the top again, but just in a different fabric. So the next couple of finished objects that I have were actually presents for people in December. So the first thing I made was a hot chocolate hoodie for my niece. She was turning 8 in December, and I really wanted to have a go at doing a sweatshirt for her. So the hot chocolate hoodie is a pattern that can be made in a couple of different variations as well, and there is a dress option, so that's the one that she wanted. So I made a sweater dress with the cuffs that had the, you know, the cuffs that you can make so that you can put your thumb through them, so they're a bit longer. So I made those, and I found this fantastic koala fabric that Little Legs was selling, and helpfully on their website they show the different kind of cuffings that match the colours within the fabric. So I picked a pink cuffing to go with this koala fabric, which I loved. So that all went really well. I'll put in some footage because obviously I had to send it off to her in December, so I don't have it with me anymore, but I took a video of the dress and when it was finished. So I'll insert that at some point.
Here is the Kanga hoodie that I've made
for my niece. I made the hoodie dress. So there's a cuff at the bottom, a kangaroo pocket, not a koala pocket. I was very pleased with my pattern matching on the koalas at the top, and pretty good at the bottom as well. I've got the thumb hole cuffs on. Put your thumb through. And then there's a fold over hood at the top that I lined with a yellow bamboo jersey. And because this is a directional print, I followed the instructions so that my koalas would be the right direction when the hood was up as well. So I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. It was a lot of work, but yeah, hopefully my niece will love it for her birthday. So it was a bit of a learning curve for me, this sweater dress, but I'm really pleased with the way that it turned out. And it gave me just that the kind of the confidence to actually attempt this Ressac sweatshirt, because I made this after I made the hoodie dress. So that was good. Learned loads of things, like I hadn't done pattern matching before, so I was really pleased that I could pattern match the koalas on the kangaroo pocket. Not a koala pocket. Well, I guess koalas have... Do koalas have pockets like kangaroos for their babies? I'm not sure. Anyway, something I'll look at that up later. But anyway, yeah, pattern matching on the kangaroo pocket, and also with the hood. Waves and Wild did a fantastic tutorial on YouTube about how to move the pattern pieces for the hood so that if you had a directional fabric, you would have the correct direction facing up when the hood was put up. So that wouldn't have even been something that I would have thought of. But when I saw the tutorial, and I was like, well, yeah, I want my koalas to be the right way up. I followed that, and it was a superb tutorial. So yeah, just all those little finishes, because I wanted to make it the best that I could. And yeah, I was really, really pleased with the results. And that's a really good pattern as well. It caters for kids, really teeny kids, kind of all the way up to teenagers, I think, as well. So that's a really good pattern if you want to make a sweatshirt for your kids. So the next thing that I made was another present, and it was for a colleague at work. She is a sewist, a seamstress, and I decided that I wanted to make her some pattern weights, and then along the way, just because I thought it would be nice, I would also make her a matching bag to put the pattern weights into. So the pattern weights were a free pattern that I saw on Lauren Guthrie's YouTube channel. So apparently Guthrie and Garney, which is her company, have taken over Patterntrace, the company Patterntrace. So this was kind of under the Patterntrace tutorial within the Guthrie and Garney YouTube channel. And it was a free pattern to make kind of triangular pattern weights. So I used that, and then the bag pattern that I chose to put the pattern weights into was also a free pattern that was on the Tammy Handmade YouTube channel. And yeah, it was a really good bag pattern. It's a zip-up bag. Now the original pattern is a smaller bag. So I made that up and then realised that I wouldn't be able to fit 8 pattern weights into that size of bag. So I increased all of the measurements by 30% and then made a bigger version of the bag, toiled that, and then when I got my final fabric, I then made another version of the bag at the 30% increased size. So I literally just, because she gives you, it's a really, really clear tutorial. I'll link it down below just so that you can have a look at it. But basically she gives you the measurements that you need. So I just increased all of those by 30%. And it worked a treat. So I was really happy with that. And when I saw the fabric on the Rainbow Fabrics website, I thought that is going to be perfect. And so I'll be putting some footage in of the finished item here. But because I had been made aware through the Waves and Wild pattern about things about fabric being directional, I realised that if I followed the pattern for the bag, that one side of the bag was going to be the right way around, but the other side would have had the fabric upside down. So I decided to just cut that piece in half, add a seam allowance, seam it together, so that when I sewed it up, both sides of the bag, whichever way you looked at the bag, the fabric would be the right way around. So that was another thing that it was in my mind because I'd had to deal with the koalas being the right way around. It then made me think, oh, hang on, yeah, if I just keep doing this in the same way as I've done the other bags that I made that didn't have a directional print, I'm actually going to end up with one side being the wrong way around, and then that would have looked odd. So that was a good thing to learn as well. So that helped me out with that make. My colleague was very happy with it, which was also good. So yeah, that I was really pleased with how those two things turned out. So the next couple of things I want to talk about are works in progress. And I know there seems to be a lot of people catching up with the works in progress at the moment, and I am also one of those. There's something about kind of the end of the year and the start of a new year that kind of makes you think about what you've already got on the go. And I was just motivated to actually just try and finish some things up. And these two items are actually, they've been whips for a long time. I mean, these are probably both going back to about 2020, 2021. So the first one is a Aria shirt. This is a pattern by Love Notions, and it's in this beautiful, it's a cotton lawn, it's a Liberty cotton lawn. And I'll try and, actually what I'll do is I'll hold it up at the back so that you can hopefully see a bit more of the pattern. It's a beautiful paisley, but it's multicolored. There's pinks and blues and greens and yellows. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, you'll notice, the eagle-eyed among you will notice there are no buttons or buttonholes on this yet. And there are a couple of reasons for that. The first reason is because I haven't done any buttonholes yet on my machine. Well, actually, that's not true. I've now practiced buttonholes on my machine. I haven't yet done any buttonholes on an actual garment. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that this shirt is unfortunately a bit too small for me. Now, when I mentioned that I had started doing this in 2020 or 2021, at the time I bought that Liberty fabric because it was on sale, but like Liberty fabric is quite spendy, so I bought a metre of it, and I was determined to be able to make something out of a metre. So I cut out the smallest size, which I think was an extra small on the pattern, and I made it short sleeved. And at the time, that possibly would have fit don't know. But anyway, I just went ahead because I was like, I had it in my mind that I had this metre of fabric, I was going to make it work, and I was just going to cut it out. So that's what I did. And then I only got so far with it and then didn't finish it off. So I picked it up again at the end of last year and put it all together. And then when I tried it on, I was not going to be able to button it up kind of across the chest. The tummy area is kind of okay, but it's just at the top, and it's kind of, it's just too tight, it's too small. So I kind of left it there and just thought, oh well, there's no point putting any buttons or buttonholes on it, because I could just wear it maybe as just like a wee jacket or something. Well, not a jacket, but like a, you know, kind of wee just throw over in the summer or something. But what I'm thinking now is that maybe this is a good opportunity to actually have a go at doing buttons and buttonholes on this shirt, because if I mess it up, then it doesn't matter too much because I won't be buttoning it up anyway. So yeah, it's still a whip, it's nearly there, but the only thing that I need to do is actually just put buttons and buttonholes on. So I think I'll use that as a practice run for doing that, because there are quite a few shirts that I want to try and make this year. So that will be a good practice run, and it won't matter too much if the buttonholes, you know, are a little bit squint or they're not quite right, because I probably won't be buttoning it up anyway. And the next whip that I have, and sorry if I haven't said what a whip is, it's a work in progress. So my next whip is this Jarrah sweatshirt, and it's nearly done. The only thing that I need to do, as you can see, is just hem the bottom. So I've got all my clips in, got my wonder web in there, and I just need to sew that up. But this is another one that I bought the fabric from, I think it was from Minerva, again back in 2021. So I bought the fabric, and then I can see from my notes, because I wrote notes at the time, I was just having a right old, I was just bamboozled by all the different variations. And I was originally going to go for the long sleeves with the split hem, and then I thought that I wouldn't wear those. So anyway, ultimately I ended up going for the sleeves with the cuffs and the curved hem. But for whatever reason, I cut out the pieces and then didn't do anything else with it. I think at the time I hadn't quite got to grips with all of the knit stitches on my machine. But now I've had a lot more experience with that, and on my machine I've got quite a good range of stitches that I can use with knit fabric. So I've got the lightning bolt, I've got a zigzag, I've got a kind of faux overlocking stitch as well. So I usually now just use the lightning stitch to do the seaming, and then I'll do the faux overlocking stitch to finish the seams, and that is usually absolutely fine for what I need to use it for. So yeah, as soon as I got this out, I thought, well, it's going to be fairly straightforward, I'd hoped. So yeah, I just got on and made it up, and yeah, it was just a pretty straightforward sew. Because I'd already cut out the sleeves, they weren't quite long enough. So what I did was I added just an extra ½ inch to the length of the cuff to try and make up the difference, and that's fine. But I think if I was to make this again, I would probably add an inch to the actual sleeves, and then that should be the right length. Now this fabric, again, I mean, it's fabulous, but it's also a little cheesy. It's a little on the cheesy side, and actually when I have it on, and maybe from a distance, it kind of gives me like Harlequin vibes. You can't quite see from a distance, I don't know if it's coming up on camera, but you can't quite see from a distance that it's feathers. So I don't think this is one that I'll be wearing outside. I think this will probably be like loungewear or even like a PJ top or something like that. So that's that. But I actually really like the shape of the jumper. Again, it's a drop shoulder, which isn't, I think I mentioned this in one of my earlier videos, but a drop shoulder isn't a style that I usually wear. Normally I have like set-in sleeves or raglan sleeves suit me really well, but maybe I'm starting to be a bit of a drop shoulder convert, I don't know. But I think this shape, certainly with the rounded hem and the kind of high-low hem as well, I think that's actually a really flattering shape on me. So I could definitely see me making more of this variation going forward. There's also, you can add on a like a polar neck, like a fold down kind of neck on it as well. So that could be good. I mean, it reminds me a bit of the LB pullover. I'd made the LB pullover last year in a kind of pinky velvet, like a pinky stretch velvet, and that was a really nice shape as well. So so yeah, I can definitely see me making more of them. I just don't think that this is one that will be, it'll be more a loungewear piece than an outside piece, but that's just because of the fabrication, not because of the pattern itself. So those are my whips, my works in progress. And now I just want to talk about a couple of plans going forward. So I have a big birthday coming up at the start of March. I am turning 50. Yes. I'm actually okay with it. When I was turning 40, I really didn't like that idea. It felt to me, I was like, oh my goodness, 40 sounds so old and da 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 da. And I had a little bit of a wobble, but I, you know, I had my, I'm now like 40, obviously 49, and the idea of turning 50, I feel a lot more comfortable in myself, in my body. You know, I know more who I am, and the sewing is helping me discover my self-expression and my identity again. I think you kind of go through, well, I did anyway, you know, you go through a phase of, oh, I can't wear that anymore, and oh, I'm feeling a bit old and my body's changing, and I'm now perimenopausal, and that's made changes to my body and how I feel about myself. But I'm getting through that and getting to know myself better, and as I say, doing the sewing, because I can make my own, I'm learning how to make my own clothes. I'm also learning about my style again and what I actually want to wear and what I like to wear, and you know, the possibilities are endless. So anyway, I'm actually feeling pretty positive about turning 50 in March, and to celebrate that, I want to make myself a dress. So I have bought this beautiful fabric. I hope you can see it. It's a cotton sateen that I got from Lamazi Fabrics. It was actually last March. They were having, I think it was like 20-25% off for Mother's Day. So I just took advantage of that and got this beautiful fabric. So what I'd like to make with this is the Hettie dress from Sew Over It. I think they brought that out some point last year. Maybe it was early last year. It doesn't matter. I think it was last year that they brought it out. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, it's a kind of trapeze shaped dress. I'll pop in some pictures of it. And as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, that's lovely. So I'd bought this fabric not with that in mind, because I don't know chronologically whether I bought this before the pattern came out, or I can't remember now. But anyway, when that pattern came out and I remembered that I had this fabric, I thought actually that would be a really good match. So I'm going to toile it, because again, I'm not quite sure of what size to make. It seems like there's quite a lot of ease in the top of the dress, and it's also got a V-neck. So it's one of those where I've probably got ease in the smaller size, and then I've got more ease in the next size up. So it's whether or not I actually need the extra ease. They have like a tie that you put into the side seam, so you can actually kind of, you know, tie it in if it's a bit too big, but I don't want it to swamp me. So I'm going to twirl it first, see what the fit's like, also see how far the V goes down, because I don't like a V that goes too far down. So I'm going to do twirl first, and then once I'm happy with the fit, I'm going to make it in this fabric. So I can't wait for that. I think it's absolutely beautiful, yeah, hopefully it will all work out, and it'll be a nice dress to celebrate turning 50. And one more plan that I have just now, because obviously it's winter and I'm quite enjoying making sweatshirts just now, is there's a pattern by Itch to Stitch called the Orono top, and it's a polar neck top, but it has a crossover, a really pretty kind of crossover front that has a crossover at the bottom as well with welt pockets. So I would really like to make that. And I saw this beautiful bamboo jersey. It's such a gorgeous lilac-y cornflower blue kind of colour. And when I saw that, I got that from Beyond the Pink Door. I thought that would be perfect. You need quite a bit of stretch for that pattern. I can't remember the exact, I think it's about at least 50%. So it was actually harder than I thought to find a fabric with the correct stretch percentages. But anyway, this one from Beyond the Pink Door fit the bill, and I just thought that is such a beautiful colour. So I bought enough to make sure that I would be able to make it long enough in the sleeves, make it long enough in the body. So that's another one that I hope to get finished in the next couple of months. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing all my makes and whips and plans. Going forward, I mentioned this on my latest knit episode as well. What I'd like to do going forward is just bring out a monthly video, and it'll be a catch up. It'll be like a monthly catch up, and I'll just go through what I've been making, what I've got kind of half made, and then if I have any plans. I can then also mention fabrics that I've bought, or maybe events that I've been to, or, you know, other little things, other bits and pieces that are related to either the knitting or the stitching. I still want to keep that content separate, because at the moment I'm making quite a few things in each category, and I just think it's going to end up being too long a video if I try and combine the two. And also, I'm aware that, I mean, I do this myself. If I want to watch sewing content, then that's what I want to watch. And then if I want to watch knitting content, I want to kind of watch it separately. So for now, I'm kind of keeping them separate. And then hopefully I'll just have like a quick video each month showing you all the things that I've made in each of those categories. So I hope you'll enjoy that. And yeah, that's my plans going forward anyway. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you at the end of February. Bye.